Today's Fantasy Football Almost Daily is brought to you by the NFFC. Play daily online and extended drafts. Those are now available for the RotoWire Online Championship at playnffc.com. This is the 17th year of the contest, making it the longest running high stakes national championship at a $350 buy-in. Each league, 12 teams, they draft 20 rounds with the top two in each league paid and an overall prize pool with a grand prize of, get this, $250,000, $250,000 right there. Find out more about the RotoWire Online Championship and find more high-stakes fantasy football contests at playnffc.com. There's still time to get in some of these high-stakes drafts this weekend. We're also brought to you by GameBlazers. Collecting? Check. Gaming? Yep. DFS? You know it. GameBlazers checks all the boxes, making it the most unique, exciting, and entertaining fantasy football app out there. You decide what packs to purchase and items to add from the marketplace to build your inventory just the way you like it. Complete objectives to earn XP, level up your battle pass, and make your items even better. And use those items to set weekly lineups and free contests to win your share of a guaranteed $750,000 in prizes this season. Build your ultimate fantasy team with GameBlazers. We're going to talk GameBlazers in a little bit, but first, some Less Than Jake.
From the Sports Hub Games Network, this is Fantasy Football Almost Daily with your host, Matt Harrison.
Welcome to episode 2 of Fantasy Football Almost Daily, the reboot. And with me today, the Rizzler himself, the leader of GameBlazers, and a full-on New York pizza snob. And don't get me started about that. It's Rourke Struthers.
Oh, yeah, baby. Big pizza is my middle name, actually. So
that is not your middle name.
No, it's not, but it should be. It should be. Aloysius. Actually, you know what? That's what I'm going to go by from now on. Rourke Aloysius Struthers. So for anyone that sees me on the street, that's what you now need to know me by. Raz.
Yeah. I mean, those Raz scores for the guys coming out of the draft. That's what it's all about. So
dude, my Raz score would have been off the charts. I'm nimble. I'm quick. I got good hands. I would have I'd be super efficient.
Yeah, exactly.
Exactly.
Today we're going to tell you a little bit about one of the newest types of fantasy sports, and that's GameBlazers. And we're going to tell you all about it and how you can get started for absolutely nothing and play in week 1 for big cash prizes. We'll have Rourke take on a robot in a GameBlazers lineup building competition, and you at home can tell us which lineup you like better for week 1. But yesterday was NFL roster cutdown day, and the NFL news cycle never, ever stops. So let's go around the league.
News team, assemble!
Hey, you like that one?
I love that. I'm big Anchorman guy, so I love that. Let's assemble. Let's get it going.
Changed it up with a little Ron Burgundy. First off, I want to cover this one. And Rourke, I didn't prep you for this, but Rashee Rice's suspension just came down. He's gonna sit the first 6 games of the season. Originally, we thought he was not going to have a ruling on it until October sometime, and he was going to play maybe the first 3 or 4 weeks of the season. Now he's just sitting the first 6 games. He accepted the suspension. Instant thoughts on Rashee Rice.
Wow. I mean, honestly, like, kudos to the NFL. Like, finally they decided to go and do something. I mean, unless you were, even gambling, you barely get anything, have any issues with that anymore. So actually, I kind of give the NFL a lot of kudos for that. Good for them for actually doing something about something that was super dangerous. Not to be like one of those guys, Debbie Downer, I guess, from an NFL side. But I think from a football side, I think it's going to mean that Xavier Worthy is just, that's who Mahomes is going to. So if anyone is looking for, any reason to go and take Mahomes or to worry about Xavier Worthy stock, that stuff goes right through the roof, I think, in that sense. Give it to the speedster, let him go. But wow, I'm very surprised. Good on the NFL finally for actually doing something about that.
To me, I think this is one of your last chances at acquiring Rashee Rice, because that dude is awesome He's coming off an ACL. This just gives him an extra 6 or 7 weeks to rehab, and he's going to be fresh. He's going to be healthy, and he's going to be rip snorting and ready to go. I don't know when Kansas City's bye week is. I should have had that up in front of me, but he'll be there either week 7 or week 8 and ready to go for the season. So I'm excited about Rashee Rice.
Yeah, that could be really interesting for anyone that, any leagues a potentially, late round pick. Now he's coming out, if you haven't drafted yet already, that's something for you guys to consider there.
Absolutely. Topic number 1, my team over here. Yeah, those guys, the Minnesota Vikings acquired Adam Thielen this morning. They got Thielen, a 5th and a conditional 7th for a 4th and a 5th round pick. He returns home to Minnesota to complete his career. I think he already said it was going to be his last season anyway.
Yeah, he did.
He played in the KOC offense in 2022, where he had 70 catches, 716 yards, and 6 touchdowns in a full season. Should slot in as wide receiver 2 for at least the first 3 weeks until Jordan Addison's suspension is served. But Rourke, will Adam Thielen be a fantasy wide receiver 2, a wide receiver 3, a flex, or a bench player most often?
All right. So, I mean, obviously all of this depends. If it's my team, he could be potentially one of those bench to flex type players. I think that's really where he's going to sit in for the most part. You can roll the dice on somebody. You can roll the dice on him if you have someone like, Godwin or Mooney. I know Godwin's still coming back from injury and stuff like that. But, if you have some really high powered guys in there, I think that it makes a lot of sense. But naturally with Addison coming back at some point early on, I think he's only suspended for his first 3 weeks, Matt, or something like that. Just Jay Jetta, it's going to be tough for him to get catches. But I do think that JJ McCarthy, knowing that he is a little bit more of a veteran presence, that he can use him a little bit as a safety blanket. And because you're going to have to cover Addison and you're going to have to cover Justin Jefferson and TJ Hawkinson, there's going to be opportunities for him. So I think there is going to be a lot of opportunities for him to actually perform. I know last year in the back half of the year, week 13, when he played with the Panthers, he had like 24 fantasy points against Tampa. Week 14 against Philly, he had 19. Week 17 against Tampa, he had 28. So he still's got a lot of juice, I think, in the tank there. And I think he's going to want to make a big difference for Minnesota this year on his way out. But I think it really does depend on who you have on your team. Again, at 35 years old, he's someone that could be potentially injury prone and has had injuries in the past. So for me, he's more of a flex, bench type of player. But that doesn't mean that, if there's injuries that go on, he could be potentially a really good option for people, to take a look at. Again, another guy that has played in the league for a while, has shown production. Like you said, he was in the KOC offense before, so it's not like he doesn't know it coming back into this. That's probably where I'd slot him in. I'd probably lean more towards the flex side than the bench side. Again, depending on, how deep the league is, how many guys you have playing. But that's probably where I would slot him in.
He still lives in Minnesota and worked out with JJ McCarthy this summer as one of the NFL wide receivers who was just hanging out in Minnesota. So maybe some early chemistry there too. So excited to see the local boy coming home.
I don't blame you there. I mean, if I was a Viking fan, I'd be very happy to see him.
Yeah. Topic number 2 of the day, Devon Achane is expected to be ready for week 1. He's been sidelined in camp with a calf injury, and it feels like Miami could have just been being very cautious with him. Last season, he finished as RB5 in PPR leagues. He had 78 catches. That's a ton. His splits with Tua in the lineup were absolutely otherworldly because Tua's the check down king. He doesn't want to get hit anymore. He was basically Saquon Barkley in the games Tua played, and he was basically Zamir White in the games that Tua didn't play. So
talk about Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde right there.
A little bit. He's so dependent on Tua Tagovailoa. It's I've never seen a guy so dependent on another player in his fantasy life. Will Achane finish this year as a top 5 running back again, or a top 10? Or a top 20, or maybe even worse?
Yeah, so I can't give him top 5. I just can't. I don't think that we'll see a full season from Tua again. I mean, I hope it's not another concussion. God forbid those. That's scary for anybody. But I just can't rely on Tua being healthy, and I can't rely on Dolphins. Really being able to get him the ball consistently. like you said, when he was healthy in those 11 games, he was averaging, 22 and a half fantasy points per game. And that put him, actually, I think a little bit ahead of Saquon Barkley. And at that top, we were talking about Barkley, Gibbs, Bijan, like those are some serious names in the league, but I just cannot rely on the Dolphins and Tua to get him the ball consistently. If they can and they can find a way to get it to him early and often, I mean, the guy has unbelievable speed. He's got an unbelievable ability to, juke people out of their shoes. But I just can't. I cannot see Tua being able to play a full season. And I think that that's going to be a major concern. And unless he gets the ball, like you said, it's that kind of that different situation there where what are you going to do? He doesn't run the ball between the tackles the same way as some of these other guys do. He's a pass catching machine. So I would definitely put him in the top 10. I wouldn't put him in the top 5. And then depending on what happens with Tua, I mean, he could fall out of the top 10 really, really easily. He's one of those, like I said, kind of Dr. Jekyll, Mr. Hyde guys where depending on what happens, that's really going to be to the quarterback. That's really going to be the determining factor for what he does.
The thing that makes me super nervous about Achane, I mean, is the Tua thing. If Tua gets one more concussion, everybody in the United States is going to call for that guy to retire. Because his mind is going to turn to jello if he keeps getting concussions. Like, I don't know how many more he can hold up to. So I'm super worried about Tua. Everybody's super worried about Tua. His draft stock has fallen. All the Miami draft stock has fallen. Achane's kind of the only one who stayed up high in late round 1 or early round 2, but it's a definite no risk it, no biscuit move to take Achane on your team.
For sure. I mean, super high risk, super high reward if it works out for you. But like you said, I mean, Tua is going to be the linchpin here. He has RB1 potential, but it's kind of out of his control to a certain degree. I mean, I don't know if you saw Quinn Ewers throwing in preseason, but he's not that going to be the guy that comes in and yeah, exactly. They're not going to have any other alternative for him, and there's not going to be any other gelling with him and any other quarterback the way that he's been able to with Tua. So I think really it's kind of out of his hands in a way. So I would say top 10 just because of the potential that he has and the risk reward. But I wouldn't be surprised if he was a top 20 running back or even fell out of that just because of the Dolphins falling apart completely.
I have the Dolphins as one of those teams that's going to be competing for the number 1 overall pick, and they might be the landing spot for Arch Manning. So maybe it's time to acquire Devon Achane in Dynasty.
Possibly.
Might be looking at a new quarterback who's actually healthy next year.
Like if I'm Arch Manning, I am staying far away from Miami if I can help myself. I'm not gonna lie to you. And it's not even like. Go ahead.
The other option is topic number 3, the New Orleans Saints, where his grandpa played. Spencer Rattler has been named the week 1 starter for the Saints, who seem to be in full tank mode for Mr. Manning. Tyler Shuck, who I like to call Aw Shucks, because that's what you say if you have to start him. He's going to start the season as the backup. Rattler was just bad last year. Started 7 games. 57% completion percentage, only 4 touchdown passes, 5 interceptions. He tried to play it as cautiously as possible. He still didn't get to that 60% completion percentage, and he averaged only 188 passing yards per game. So, Rourke, I don't know your feelings on Alvin Kamara or Chris Olave or any other Saints offensive player. Are you drafting any of these guys, or are you just happy you don't have them?
The only guy that I would be considering is Alvin Kamara. I mean, another, when you look at Olave concussions, him and Tua are what are they, Irish twins potentially there with how many concussions they both got going on over there. So, I mean, I've always been a big Kamara fan. He's so versatile. He can run between the tackles. He can run outside. He's got great breakaway speed. He can catch the ball. But who's throwing the ball to him? How is he getting the ball? And if you're running the ball every play, everybody's going to know what you're doing, and defenses are inevitably going to stop that. At the same time, if you were banking on Tyler Shaw being the reason that the Saints skill position players would succeed, I don't really know what to tell you. Or Spencer Rattler for that point. But what I will say about Rattler I will say about him is he was a 5-star recruit in high school. He was a Heisman favorite going into 2021 before Caleb Williams got there. Transferred to SC, did win the MVP of the Senior Bowl. He does have the ability to play, in big time games for in meaningful minutes. And I think that he has decent skills. It's whether or not he has the head for it, right? I think some of the best players in the league might have all the talent in the world, but do they have the head for it? And that's the question that I have of Spencer Rattler. And that's where it really was going to come down to. Can he learn the system? Can he, be humble enough to get the ball out of his hands when he needs to and not try and do too much and just play his role and develop? I think that's going to be the big issue for them. So I am thankful, aside from Kamara, who I unfortunately do have in my fantasy league, to not have any other Saints players. Maybe, hopefully, he gets off to a quick start. I can try and trade him for somebody and get anything out of that. But I'm very happy I don't have anybody else on my fantasy team, and I would caution anybody else against even drafting Kamara unless you're kind of a masochist like I am.
Not a big Rashid Shaheed or Devon Vele fan.
No,
obviously.
not even. And look, and I like Shaheed. I do think that Rashid Shaheed, like, he has a lot of potential, but again, how is he catching the ball? Like, who's throwing the ball to them? Like, is Spencer Rattler really going to be the guy that's lighting it up for the Saints? Like, I don't think so. I mean, to your point earlier, he wasn't slinging it around when he got the opportunity last year, and now with Kellen Moore, which I think is a great move for them, and I think that their offense will be a lot better, but he still has to figure out what he wants to do from a head coaching perspective and from a scheme side. And there's a lot of learning that comes with that. And, there's very few players that can step on the field, learn a new system in the offseason, and then, play at the highest level and perform their best that they could. So I definitely would stay away from any Saints players. Like I said, the only person I think that really could do well is Kamara, because of his ability to, catch the ball, run the ball, and he's going to, I think, be the predominant force for their offense in any sort of way, shape, or form. So he's going to get touches. It's just a matter of can, the rest of the guys give him opportunities to run and score some touchdowns and get some yards.
All right. I want to switch gears here, and I want to talk a little bit about GameBlazers. And Rourke, if I knew absolutely nothing about GameBlazers, what's the elevator pitch? What would you tell me about GameBlazers? How do I play? How do I get involved? What's important to know, and what's different about GameBlazers?
Yeah. So I guess the best way to think of it is just 3 simple steps. You open packs, you set lineups, and you win cash prizes. That's really it. We tried to combine trading cards and collectibles with fantasy to make it an experience that you can build your inventory and you can build your team the way that you want to. At the end of the day, what we saw as an inefficiency of fantasy is gaming, right? There's a lot of great video games out there that people love, and we tried to model this product more off of a video game. So we have a battle pass and progression system. We have a marketplace. It is really unique and one of a kind. And I think anyone who likes collectibles, who likes fantasy, who likes knowing that they know more than the people that they're playing against, this is a great product for you to get involved with. So head to the App Store, iOS or Google Play Store, download it. We give you a free starter pack to start out. And that's the elevator pitch right there, Matt.
Yeah. I mean, you can get a free couple of packs here, and you can play this weekend.
Yes, you can.
Or week 1, I guess.
Absolutely. Yeah. We'll have
Labor Day weekend. So
yeah, we'll have 37,000 in the prize pool for week 1. So don't wait. Get in now.
And it's worth noting, how much do the contests cost to get into
0
on GameBlazers?
Nothing. The contest costs nothing, baby.
$0, and there's $37,000 worth of prizes.
What can I say? I'm a generous guy.
Straight cash, homie.
That's it, baby. That's how we do it in New York. We got we come in hot and heavy. All right, that's what I'm talking about.
Hey, I'm walking here.
We gotta go rip some packs, enter some lineups. All right, get your share. 37,000 for this week 1, baby.
Okay, if you've hung on this far, we're gonna do a little experiment we like to call Rourke versus the robot. And Rourke, kind of explain what exactly we're doing with GameBlazers and how you're going to face off against a robot.
Yeah, so on GameBlazers, like I said, you rip open packs and you set those lineups. And so what we'll be doing this year for Rourke versus Robot is I will be playing against GROK or some of the other LLM models that are out there, and seeing who can build a better lineup for the week. We all have the same constraints. We have a quarterback, running back, wide receiver, tight end, and 2 flex spots. And we have a salary cap of 48,000. All of the players have a salary cap associated with them. And me and whatever model it is that's hot for that week, we'll set a lineup, and then we'll go through all of the specifics as to why that lineup is chosen, and see who comes out on top, which, just everybody listening, it'll be me. more often than not. So you got to have confidence in yourself, right? You got to bet on yourself, right?
You think that the robot can't beat you? The robot
Look,
has so much more knowledge than you do.
Look, all I'm
So many
saying is
data
that
points.
there's a term going around for the robots, the clankers. He's a clanker. That's all I'm getting at.
Oh,
She is a
wow.
clanker. Yeah. I said it.
Okay.
I said it.
Well, we're going to show you a little video here on the video podcast, and on the audio, we'll kind of chime in along with it. But it's going to show what a pack opening looks like. So if you're listening to this audio side, you can view this as a video, this podcast, on either Spotify or on YouTube. So you can see what a pack opening looks like there. But if you're listening to the audio, we'll just kind of talk you through kind of what the pack opening looks like. Here we go. All right, Rourke, make sure to unmute your mic. Yeah, here you are.
Oh yeah, baby. We're
Okay.
here.
So we got a rare pack opening that we're starting here. You get 5 players in a rare pack, right?
Yes, we do. And all of the players have a multiplier assigned to them, 1.0 all the way up to 1.5. And it just takes their existing or base level fantasy score and multiplies it by that multiplier.
And Brian Thomas Jr. was the big get in that rare pack. Now we have an epic pack, and I noticed that the epic pack seems to have 11 items in it, and it had some doozies in here.
It's got some guys in here. It got some dogs in here.
It was wide receiver heavy.
It was
and really exciting. CD Lamb, AJ Brown, Marvin Harrison. Ooh, and
then
we got a big quarterback here.
Here he is, Action Jackson, baby. Lamar Jackson,
a 147 rating at a 1.5x. So that's pretty interesting on what you get for those guys. So we opened 5 packs. We just showed you 2. Here's the quarterbacks available for the Rourke versus Robot Challenge today. Nix, May, Wilson, Stroud, Burrow, and Jackson. Then we'll move on to the running back position here.
There's A-Chan.
Not as cool.
I mean, not as cool.
Kyron Williams, Breece Hall, A-Chan, James Conner's in there, and then a couple of rookies in there. Wide receivers, there were 17 wide receivers in these 5 packs. And you'll notice a certain lack of a tight end position, but there was a lot of good wide receivers in this pack.
Which makes it for very interesting.
Ferguson or David Njoku as the tight ends.
Hey, it'll make it very interesting. I'm excited to get to walk through some of the logic here.
So much talent in the packs this week, especially at that wide receiver position. So, Rourke, how did you kind of start in building your lineup?
Yeah. So for me, I'm a big schedule guy, right? I like to know who's playing. I like to know what the matchups are. I think that that's really important. So that's usually where I start. And then I'll go and take a look at, what is the one position. I'm a big wide receiver guy. I think wide receivers, I'm more of like a 0 running back strategy kind of guy in fantasy generally. So I was big on the wide receivers and making sure that the relationship between who's playing and the team that they're on, all of that stuff kind of lined up. So if you see my lineup, what I went with was Joe Burrow 1.0. They're playing the Browns. I think Chase and Higgins are going to have a field day this year. And especially for week 1. And I think the Bengals are going to get off to a fast start. So that was my thinking with Joe Burrow there. I went James Conner in the second spot, and I went Marvin Harrison Jr. for one of my flex spots. I just think the Saints
double Cardinals.
Yeah, exactly. But I think the Saints, they were 26th against the run last year. They were 32nd, or I think 25th against the pass last year, actually. And the Saints are just, abysmal, I think, this year. And I think that the Cardinals are going to get off to a really quick start. They're going to hand the ball to James Conner. He ended up as RB11 last year. So I think they're going to continue to feed him the ball. And I think Marvin Harrison Jr. is going to actually have a pretty good breakout season this year. I know it was a little bit lackluster from him last year. But I think that duo and that kind of stack, I think will be really helpful for me in week 1. I had to go with Brian Thomas Jr. at the wide receiver position because I just think he's incredible. I think his speed is unbelievable. I think people are severely underestimating his relationship and chemistry with T-Law, and I think that T-Law will hopefully prove the haters wrong this year. So I went with him with the 1.5 multiplier, and then I finished with Malik Neighbors, obviously New York guy. big Giants
The
fan.
Homer pick.
Yeah, exactly. And I had to do it because look, Neighbors last year got over 1,000 yards, and he was, he might as well had me throw into him at the quarterback position. So, and he's I'm sure he would have outperformed then too. But now he actually has some guys that can actually throw the ball to him, whether it be Russell Wilson or I actually kind of wanted to go with Jameis because I'd rather see a 30-30 season and 5,000 yards. I think that'd be electric. Neighbors, I think, is going to get the ball a lot. And I think that, although it's only a 1.0x multiplier, I think that he's going to show out this year. And I think it's going to be another unbelievable season for him. So I came in, lower on the salary cap than I expected, but I think that I'm really going for the matchups here. And what that lends me in terms of performance here.
Can I ask you a personal question?
Of course. Anything for you, Matt.
Is the recently cut Tommy DeVito living in your apartment?
He's not at the moment, although I did offer, his mom, my mom, they're tight, they make cutlets on the daily. I know Tommy Cutlets is a big cutlet guy. Obviously I'm a big cutlet guy. So I had to extend the arm for my guy, Tommy D, but no, he decided to turn me down very politely. And, I wish him the best. I honestly, I hope the Jets pick him up. I think that'd be great. Keep Tommy D and keep Tommy Cutlets in the Big Apple, baby. Let's get it going.
Will you switch to be a Jets fan?
Absolutely not. Absolutely not. Never. I endured a decade of Giants of abysmal play, and now I need to see them on the come up. Now that we have Jackson Dart and we got the good feels back, the good vibes back. I'm a big vibes guy. I think the vibes are really high right now for the Giants. So. I think they're going to do great things this year, and I'm looking forward to supporting them. You'll see me there at the tailgates.
They got Washington week 1.
I know. I look
right there.
Look, this is all I'm going to say about Washington. All right, Jaden Daniels, the guys that he was playing last year, like I think 12 of the quarterbacks that he was playing last year were pretty awful. Just generally, I mean, including Daniel Jones. We couldn't get rid of that guy to save our lives. I wanted to get rid of him the moment we drafted him. So I think that he is going to have a little bit of a tough time in this his sophomore season with Washington. I think they did great last year. They won a lot of close games. Can they replicate it this year? I don't know. So I like my Giants. I like the G-men. All right.
We're noting that you used 3 second-year wide receivers in your lineup as well.
I did. Look, I'm a youth guy. I trust the youth. I think that you gotta move ahead. You gotta see the potential there, and there's a lot of risk and reward. I'm a big high risk, high reward kind of guy. So
all right. Let's flip over to the robots lineup, and you plugged it in, and GROK gave us some commentary. So I will try to read GROK's commentary here. I think I have a robot voice changer here. Let's try that.
Let's try it out.
All right, folks, it's your boy GROK here.
Oh, that's annoying. I can't do that.
That was tracking. That was tracking really well, though, Matt.
Oh my God.
No.
Pitch up.
No. Okay. All right, folks. It's your boy GROK here, the ultimate fantasy football analyst with a flair for the dramatic and a knack for spotting those game-changing studs. GROK sounds more confident than you, Rourke.
He does. She does. I don't even know. At this point, it's going to be something to see. I'm a little nervous when it comes to that one. I'm not going to lie.
Confidence is high for GROK. He says, we're diving into week 1 of the NFL season for this GameBlazers contest, and I've crunched the numbers from that roster spreadsheet to build a powerhouse lineup. He said, this squad is built for dominance. High ceiling stars like Lamar Jackson and Devon Achane carry the load, while value plays like Njoku and Marvin Harrison keep us under the cap. The multipliers are optimized for max projections, and the overall balance avoids weak spots. If week 1 delivers as expected, we're talking top of the leaderboard vibes. Wow. That's GROK is super confident, and his lineup.
He's got the Riz, Matt. He's got the Riz.
He went 1.5x Lamar Jackson at over 10 million. 1.5x Jalen Waddle, who I don't know who's picking Jalen Waddle right now, but GROK liked it. 1.5x rookie Travis Hunter, which I think that's a kind of a sneaky play. I like that play there. And
it is sneaky.
You get a 1.3 Achan, a
Which-
1.3 Marv, and that's the same Marv that you had. So that one kind of
Yes.
cancels it out. And you had the same Njoku as well. So now we're looking at two lineups here, and I'll pop them up on the board. The difference really is, can Lamar, Achan, Waddle, and Hunter outscore Burrow, Connor, Thomas, and Neighbors?
I mean, look, I'm just going to put this out there. Lamar is playing the Bills. That's always a good game, but I think that the Bills, their defense is going to play well. So, the 1.5 you got to take with a grain of salt there. Again, I also think that Miami with Achan, it's going to be hit or miss, like we were just talking about before. Like, can he come through and can he perform? And is Tua going to remain healthy enough to actually, do what he needs to do there? I think that's going to be a really difficult, situation to manage. So that's really what it comes down to. Like I said, I tried to go more from a schedule side. Who are we playing? What makes sense? And I think Travis Hunter, although, very sneaky option there, I think Brian Thomas Jr. is going to get infinitely more touches than he will. And he's more of a deep threat. So I like my chances here.
The thing that I'm nervous about for you is you're going against a Lamar Jackson and a half.
Yes.
With a single Joe Burrow.
Yeah.
And you're going up against an Achan who's at a slightly higher multiplier than James Conner. Those are the things that are kind of scary for me there.
Yeah, which is understandable. But I mean, the Bengals are playing the Browns. So if Chase and Higgins don't at least have a touchdown and 100 yards each, then the Bengals got a problem. And then I really have to rethink what the Bengals are going to look like for the rest of the season. So I'm trying to really play the matchup there more than anything else. I mean, the Browns are nothing, special. Sorry for all you Browns fans out there. But what are the Bengals doing? Is it worth playing Joe in preseason to get off to a quick start? I think that was actually a pretty good idea. And so that's really where I'm betting that Burrow kind of blows up and really, does really well. And Lamar playing the Bills, I think he's just going to suffer a little bit naturally just because of how much better the Bills are than the Browns. So I was really trying to play the schedule game there. Although taking Njoku, I know that there was only Ferguson was the only other option, but the Bengals were 32nd against tight ends last year. So I think he has an opportunity to do well and then make up for in certain situations for me. I know that he has the same Njoku, but I do think that there is a lot of potential there for at least him to get touches. And like I said, with Brian Thomas Jr. and Travis Hunter, I think that Thomas Jr. is going to far outseed any sort of touches there. So that's the thinking for sure on my side.
If you're listening on Spotify, I'll add a Spotify poll and you can answer whether or not you think Rourke or the robot won this one. And please leave a comment on either YouTube, Spotify, Apple, any of those things, just to let us know who you think won and why. I'd like to hear your fantasy analysis on this one.
Yeah, and if it's not, benefiting me and it's not positive for me, then you're just wrong. I just want to let you all know about that. But it's yeah.
I think the robot's gonna win. How about
Matt? I'm offended. I'm so offended, Matt. I'm done. I'm leaving the show. Why did you even have me on, Matt? Jesus.
Because
fair. That's a very fair point. Very fair point, Matt.
All right. Programming note on Fantasy Football Almost Daily. We'll be back next Tuesday, where Trevor Jones returns to Fantasy Football Almost Daily, a longtime co-host on the old version of the show. Trevor and I are going to talk DFS plays for week 1 and our favorite plays over on Fanball and some of the other games out there. I do want to note, Rourke, do you like free games for cash prizes?
I love free games for cash prizes. And you know who has them, Matt?
Oh, it's GameBlazers with a guaranteed
That's right, baby.
season-long prize pool of $750,000. That's more than double.
$750,000 for you people.
Yeah,
don't do math.
That's more than double last year's guaranteed total. Every week, you can enter free contests and win your share of a minimum of $35,000 in cash prizes. Plus, if you complete your objectives, you get rewards like XP to level up your battle pass and even more, and then you get to earn more rewards. It's just like rewards upon rewards upon rewards. They just keep
reward
stacking
bonanza
on top of each other. Download the app today. Use promo code FFAD for a first-time deposit bonus of up to $100. We'll match it.
We'll match it, baby. That's it. Look, what can I say? That's what we do in New York. We do it big. We do it big in the Big Apple.
Buy yourself some packs. Build yourself an ultimate fantasy team with GameBlazers. Rourke, thank you for joining. Anything else that you want to get out of your system before we leave the show?
No, I think I got it all out. I appreciate you, Matt, for having me on. I'm really looking forward to this season, and definitely leave some comments on whose lineup you think is better, and check out the GB app now in stores and get in before week 1. I think you're gonna really like it. So thank you, Matt, for having me on, and looking forward to doing more of these.
All right, this was Fantasy Football Almost Daily, and we'll see you tomorrow, except we won't see you tomorrow. We'll see you Tuesday. Bye.